What was the thinking behind the Jaylen rotation, 10 in the first half, and then he was able to give you 22 second half, get to the free throw line? What were you looking for in terms of his minute distribution?
Yeah, he played well. I mean, take a look at what he did in the second half for us. 9 for 19, had 23 at the end of the third. I thought, but he had a huge offensive rebound there, crashing from the corner, which got us that Payton 3 in the corner. So, he played well. We wanted to disperse the minutes. We wanted to make sure we were in good shape heading into halftime. And, he handled it great, and I thought he had a great second half.
No, I was just playing like in the first half, honestly, turning the ball over, et cetera. So I just, took a minute for me to figure it out, but I kind of picked it up to close the game. But got to come out to a better start in the first half, especially in the first quarter, because the team kind of feeds off me. I know that, so I got to be better. And Joe's just holding me to a higher standard.
Benched. That's the hashtag, Ountae Campbell.
Yeah.
Benched. It'll be right there on the visual on our YouTube page with the clip from the show.
Yeah.
Benched? Question mark?
Yeah.
Adam Kaufman, hold my banner, Nets and Nation. 3 in a row for the Celtics. It's different there. They were on the road. 113-99 win at Brooklyn. Go ahead. I keep cutting you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, obviously, I was just going to say it's not different here because we weren't home.
Yeah, it's not
I know
different
we were all
here.
confused about where this game was going to be played. So, we weren't at home, but we will be for the next one.
Yes.
And hopefully Jaylen Brown will not be getting benched in this one. At least maybe benched in the fourth quarter instead of the first. That would be at least nice to see for some time, at least another time. We only seen it once this year when they really routed somebody. So, let's see if we can get a little comfortable win.
A little Geno time. Let's get some Geno time at the Garden.
Especially an NBA Cup game. That would be nice to see.
So the Celtics, well, I guess let's start by, we'll get into the game, obviously, and we can talk about Jaylen. I mean, the Celtics, they trail by as many as 10 points in this one. They go on for, I don't want to call it a comfortable win, but it was a comfortable final score. You could maybe call it that. 3 straight victories for the Celtics. It's 4 out of 5 now. They're 8-7. First time, I can't believe I'm saying this 15 games into the year, but first time over 500 this year at 8-7. And close strong, which is really the big thing. 24-14 fourth quarter advantage that was powered by an 18-3 run. Obviously, Brown, part of that. It wasn't a bad game for him. 29 points. Didn't shoot great.
Right.
He did hit, he got to the free throw line, which I always love to see. 8 of 10 from the charity stripe. Where Brown, kind of comes back to the, playing like poop and all this stuff is how much time, Ountae, have we spent on Jaylen Brown assist to turnover ratio, right? And it was 4 dimes, I think. 8 turnovers, which is a problem.
It is.
It's admittedly a problem. And when you're playing a junk team like the Brooklyn Nets, who are now 2-12, 0-7 at home, you can get away with these things. If you play even average competition, probably bites you in the behind. So what kind of, obviously it doesn't sound like Jaylen Brown was upset about the brief benching that he endured in this game.
Right.
Joe Mazzulla wasn't hesitating to I don't even know if the intention was so much to send a message as much as just
trying to win the game.
Yeah, you're playing poorly, and we're trying to win.
Right.
Some people look at this thing and they'll spin it another way. They'll see, so is this what quiet tanking looks like? You're going to sit your best player against the Brooklyn Nets? Maybe. No, it's because he was hurting the cause.
Yeah, he was hurting the cause. And then he said it, his energy was just off in that first, energy shifter. He's supposed to be the guy that shifts in the
Always
positive
to the
light,
positive,
right?
Yeah.
But, sometimes energy shifts in the negative light. And it was one of those things where his team looks lethargic in the first quarter. And it was a lot of what he said. It's my energy. I have to be better. Like, I know the team goes how I go. And, like, when you're playing against a Brooklyn Nets team who, once again, I told you last episode, like, you can't let Igor Dioman, which I learned for the first time last night.
Still Demon in my heart, but go ahead.
Dioman, get going, you know what I mean? Which he did in the first quarter. And I was like, oh, I started texting you. I'm like, oh, here we go. Is Igor really about to have the coming out game? Is this finally going to be the game where we say, oh, Igor's a real NBA player? He's now, letting his wings flap and fly and he's ready to go. Like, it felt like that. And it was a lot to do with Jaylen Brown kind of being just out there, for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they were used to playing game after game after game and it's kind of been kind of a slower, dead period for this Celtics team. And, getting up for practice is different from getting up for a game. Like, it just is, especially for a guy like Jaylen Brown who's in year, 9 at this point. So I think he did what he needed to do. I think Joe did what he needed to do, and that was just reset. Sometimes it happens. Like,
sure,
the best players in the world sometimes just get figured out. Jordy Fernandez, a coach who coached overseas, newer coach in this league. Maybe throwing some newer looks at this guy, throwing some different bodies at him, guys that they're not typically worried about or thinking about in the offseason. Let's be honest. Like, they're not worried about who the Nets have on their team and what they're going to do, at least since Kevin Durant left. Like, they're not thinking about that. So, seeing some bodies that they're not used to playing against, seeing some coaches that they're not using to face, like, it can affect guys a little bit. And Jaylen Brown reset and obviously ended up, Celtics gave him player of the game after the game on social media. So they thought he had a good game. Joe thought he had a good game. You and I sit here and say he had a pretty good game, but there was probably about 10 minutes or so there that were a little ugly.
I just thought this was a really clunky game, for lack of a better way of putting it. Again, the Celtics, they were not bad. I wouldn't really say they were good.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was, they were pretty much even with a terrible team for about 3 quarters. And then obviously they pull away late. But even some of the individual areas, and we could talk about specific players, but in terms of the areas. So the Celtics, solid from 3. Yeah. Good. Against more Missoula ball. You take mid-40s three-pointers. Yeah. You hit almost 20. You convert on 45% of them. Nobody's complaining about that. It's the style of play. Right. When it works, and that's wonderful. They control the rebound battle. We wondered what that was going to look like with guys like Claxton, with Sharp on the other side. They go out there, obviously, and 49-39. Cool. But despite winning the rebounding battle, you lose on points in the paint, 36-30. Not drastically, but you did lose it. The Nets firmly controlled the turnover battle. Yeah. It was 14 versus 20,
and they
which
capitalized every time.
Yeah, I mean the fast break points, 24-8.
Right.
So
shout out Kobe.
This is just it's one of those games where it was not without its problem areas.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I guess I look at it and I say, like you acknowledged, these teams are going to see each other again right away. They're at the Garden tomorrow. What specifically needs to be corrected? What went right versus what needs to be better?
Well, I also think you have to understand the turnovers are a big part of it. Like, them getting those fast break points was a lot of that early on, keeping the Nets around, sticking around, whatever. And like I said, the Celtics not playing every other night like it felt like they were playing a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, spread out now.
It's probably a part of that. Having a rest day in between, not practicing before the Clippers game, they had a day where they didn't practice. They also didn't practice one day before this game, as well, traveling, getting on that plane. Like, there are some things that played into some lethargic energy, and obviously being in Brooklyn, no offense to Barclays Center, but they're not packing that thing out in there at all. So, that can also come into it where it's like, all right, the fans are in there giving you the energy that you need or whatever, even if it's the I hate you energy. And the Celtics fans travel well, especially the Brooklyn. They were there. But, like, this isn't a filled, packed out arena. It's probably closer to 70% capacity last night. This team just has to continue to do a lot of things that, like, they did in the fourth quarter, which was they finally started to, like, the Nets came back to earth, started missing shots because in the first half they were making shots because they were feeling good. They were getting wide open layups, and then that ends up coming into wide open threes, and you just feel good when you see the ball go in the hoop. And then on top of that, the Celtics just started to decide that they were not going to really give up offensive rebounds and that they were going to just play controlled. Like, they weren't getting out of body. They didn't take opportunities to do exactly what I was telling you that they were going to do coming into this game, which is, we're playing the Nets, so I'm going to shoot this shot. You know what I mean? We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Like, they did that for the first half, and then Joe said, hey, we got to win a basketball game. Let's go play Celtics basketball how we know we can do, and let's go win this thing, and that's what they did.
Yeah, and honestly, you're not going to win many games when your best player is a minus player, which obviously in the case of Michael Porter Jr. on the Brooklyn side, he was a -9 and what was 14-point loss.
Right.
Still had 25 points, still had 6 rebounds, only had 1 turnover, stole the ball 3 times. Part of it obviously is a victim of circumstance and the
The team
bucket of
around
yuck
him.
that he's got
Right.
around him,
Yeah.
exactly. But still, man, I mean, if you're going to attempt to take over, if I'm looking at the Boston side, I continue to be encouraged, really on a game-by-game basis at this point in time, by Payton Pritchard. You know, we had so much conversation on our previous show on Tuesday, and you can always catch us here, Nessa Nation, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. Back on Tuesday, we were talking about Derek White, and the conversation centering around, okay, have we seen the best of him?
Yeah.
And you hate to discuss that for a guy that is still in his very early 30s, 31 years
31
old,
years
but
old.
in all likelihood, we have. You feel more strongly about it than I do, but in all likelihood, we have. I'd like to believe there's still just a little bit more, just a little more
one more
there.
step he could take.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that step is as simple as labeling it as doing what he's done, but consistently. And maybe he'll get there, maybe he won't. Maybe this is taking on more responsibility without Jason Tatum. I don't know. I think that's all fair to speculate. Payton Pritchard, though, just continues to show me that there are new levels.
Yeah.
There are next steps. Consistent, not every game, but fairly consistent double-doubles. Sometimes it's assists. Last night, it's rebounds. You know, you don't know what you're going to get. 22 points. He goes 5 of 12 from 3. I'm sure there are some people out there that want to gripe about the volume. But what
I love 5 for 12. That's great.
I'm not going to complain about even if it was 2 for 12.
Right.
I know what his ability is.
Right.
So if you're getting good open looks, don't force it. Don't just be jacking up logo shots.
Right.
Hand in your face, whatever it is. But if he's getting good open looks on the wings, as he often does, shoot him.
Yeah.
Because he got off to a slow start to the year, but you knew at the very least, I think this is true of White as well, but definitely with Payton.
Yeah.
You knew water was going to find its level.
Yeah, and you knew like the catch and shoot opportunities for him were gonna they were gonna find a way back into his game. You know what I mean? Like you knew, all right, high pick and roll, Payton Pritchard wasn't gonna live forever. Like they were trying to integrate Keita and get him really into the fold of the offense because they know other guys understand how to score in this offense. So they were high pick and roll a lot more earlier on in the season, and now they're back to more swing, Celtics basketball, a little more free flowing, and then obviously letting JB ISO and do his thing when he can. Payton's obviously getting the opportunity to ISO just based off of the fact that he's now on fire and making shots. So, you know, you knew that eventually he would start making shots as well. So I wasn't worried necessarily about the catch and shoot numbers, more off the dribble, and now the off the dribble stuff is out of this world as well.
So continuing on, kind of looking toward this next game, and you could take this beyond Brooklyn if you want. Obviously, there's a test right after that against Orlando, another team that certainly record-wise is on your level. They've got the same record, you know, sitting there tied for 9th in the Eastern Conference at the moment, but another team that projects to be at least as good, if not better than you as the season moves along. And they're a little slowed by right now. There's no Paolo Banchero and all of that. But obviously the Celtics, they don't have Jason Tatum either. Just continuing to think about rotations.
Yeah.
And, you know, last time around we were told, well, Sam Hauser, he played 6 minutes. And is this going to be a thing going forward? Or are we going to see another guy get his turn? Jordan Walsh is, as Minot did for a while, he's consistently starting.
Right.
But yesterday, and I think there were contributing factors to this, he only plays 11 minutes.
Right.
Now, some of those contributing factors, really
fouls.
it's twofold. 4 fouls.
Yeah.
Played like junk.
Yeah.
He was a minus 12 in this game.
Yeah.
Among a contest that did not have very many minus players on the Celtics side.
Mm-hmm.
But do we think it's right back to him? Like, you know, we're once again Jordan Walsh, Brooklyn, Friday. You're still starting, and maybe this time you're not getting in foul trouble, so you're up over 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, originally I wanted to say yes because I knew what you were going to ask me there, and I want to say yes because Minot kind of got that leash, obviously, after playing well for 2 or 3 games, and then he had a game where he was lethargic as well, and then came back and started the next game, and it wasn't that great as well, so they were like, all right, we're going somewhere else with this. I want to say yes, But I also think practice matters. And like during that Josh Minot time, we didn't have a lot of practices in between. And so with this Jordan Walsh, you got to, they probably practiced today, obviously did practice today, practice yesterday, So it was one of those things where it's like, all right, like, is he playing well in practice? Like, does he look tired? Does he look this? Does he look that? Like, Joe's looking at those type of things. And if he is looking good in practice, then he probably does get another opportunity. But I'll say probably if you gave me a scale from is he going to start to not start on a 0 to 100 level, I would say 70% he'll probably start this game on Friday against the Nets.
Who are you still looking for more out of right now?
Hauser. I mean, like, even last night, I felt like the 2 threes that he hit in the fourth quarter, I was like, oh.
Skies are opening.
Right, thank God. Like, Hauser is finally doing the things that we've, asked for him to do. But I find myself consistently wanting more. You know what I loved about everything that he did last night? It was the fact that, like, he made the first 3 in the fourth quarter, and then he missed the next one from deep, like a square up,
Sure.
straight on, but it was about like 32 feet away from the basket, and he missed it. And the ball comes bouncing out back towards half court, and he sprints to meet it towards the sideline and gets the offensive rebound and immediately swings it to Derek White. It's like those little plays I felt like had been missing out of Hauser's game early on in the season for whatever reason, like the hustle things that we used to see him do last year and all those other things. It seemed like they just kind of left, and it was like, okay, if he's making shots, great, and if he's not, what is he doing?
Right.
Those kind of plays are the plays that I'm really looking forward to out of him. So hopefully, once again, this is an opportunity for him to do those things and stack it together.
How about just to look ahead for a minute or two before we break, this next test with the Magic? Because, as we sit here right now, again, Brooklyn tomorrow back at home, then obviously it's Orlando, and that is Sunday. We're not back with people, obviously, here until Tuesday. And so I think we both sit here and believe that Boston takes care of Brooklyn. Now, last night was maybe a little scary. Maybe it won't be as easy or not last night, 2 nights ago, pardon me. I feel like I keep saying yesterday about this game. So fresh in the mind.
Right.
But I think we believe this is going to be another win over Brooklyn. Damn well better be. And that's 4 in a row. What happens against the Magic, these short-handed Magic?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the game against the Magic where the bigs are really important. I think we talked about using your fouls 2 episodes ago.
Right.
This last game against the Nets, Garza and Nemi combined for 9 fouls. So they were once again using their fouls. But I think this is a game where they get back right on the offensive end. Like, I feel like it's been a little bit of a while since we've talked about Luka Garza's offensive impact. And, same thing with Keita's offensive impact. It's really been kind of what they've been doing on the offensive glass here and there, but like defensive glass, physicality, protecting the rim in whatever ways they do so, not necessarily just blocking shots, but, being down there and being physical. I think that we see a game where they kind of start to get right again from an offensive standpoint against the Orlando Magic. I think it is going to be a grinded out game more than people believe, because I think this Magic team is used to playing without Paolo. They've done it over the last couple of years. He's had long stints without playing with them, and they survived and they lasted. And there was the time last year where we were like, oh my God, they're going to be awful. And they were like the 5th seed when he came back, So I think this is going to be a tough game for the Celtics, but I do think they slide past the Orlando Magic by a couple points.
Okay, so I haven't even really told you about this yet. We got a fun show for you here, other than obviously just looking back on kind of a lethargic win over the Brooklyn Nets. If we sound lethargic, that's why, right? We sort of sound the way I feel like that game went in a lot of ways. We're going to get a little more lively, though, because this was a big week. At least in terms of looking back a little bit at recent Celtics history, the tradition, the Sports Museum honorees with a number of popular players here that have come through the area over the last couple of decades, between Vince Wilfork, obviously Fred Lynn well before that, Tim Thomas, Keegan Bradley, if you're into golf, obviously a lot of guys getting honored, including former Celtic, a brief, maybe too brief, Celtics superstar, an MVP candidate in his own right, Isaiah Thomas. Our own Kasey Hudson caught up with him, as well as the man who presented him, a former member of the Celtics coaching staff. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
he was on the court too. Evan Turner. We're going to hear from both of those guys as the show moves along. Stay with us here on Hold My Banner on NESN Nation. Welcome back on Hold My Banner, NESN Nation. As we told you, special week for the Celtics, for a popular player here, honestly, you want to talk about reverberations through the fan base. I mean, few have come through and impacted Boston sports fans in a way quite like the little guy, as Tommy Heinsohn used to call him, Isaiah Thomas, the king in the fourth, who really helped escalate Boston's rebuild back when Brad Stevens, obviously now the president of basketball operations, when he was the head coach. This Celtics team has been to, at the minimum, Eastern Conference Finals a half dozen times going back to the 2016-2017 season. And that first one that began the run, which of course included multiple trips and a win in the NBA Finals, started with the unlikely MVP candidate, top 5 vote getter, Isaiah Thomas. Honored this week at the tradition by the Sports Museum. Our own Kasey Hudson spoke with him there about his time in Boston.
Isaiah Thomas, thank you so much for sitting down with me. The heavy-hitting question off the top for everyone. TD Garden's 30th anniversary is this year. What are some of the most memorable moments that you've had in this very building?
The most memorable moment, probably the Game 7 win in 2017 playoffs in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a team, that was like a big moment. That was my first Game 7, so I was nervous, and it was in Boston, so it was a special moment in my career for sure. Individually, I mean, I've had a few games that some of my 50-point games are like memorable games that you dream of as a kid, and those just happened, and they were something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you casually mentioned 50 points, but there's nothing casual about that. Ever look back on Game 2 against Washington, 53 points, and have at least some clarity to just what went down?
Yeah, I always look at that game. Just because, that was, my sister had passed away that year, and that was on her birthday. So it was it just didn't seem real what was happening. I felt like, I was in the gym by myself. I felt like I was back when I was a kid at the YMCA, just shooting baskets by myself. And it was an amazing moment. More so, we got the win. Obviously, that was a career high of mine. But to do that on her birthday was that was legendary. So
you can't touch that.
Oh, no, that was storybook ending for sure.
Oh my gosh, well, what a blessing you were able to experience something like that, and again, to be able to make and mark a moment. Now, creeped on Twitter a little bit. You tweeted, "Boston, I'm home.
Yeah.
You see me in the streets, show some love." There's been all kinds of fan experiences that we hear about, that's for sure, but is there any fan experience that has stood out to you because Boston and the way that they have encompassed you and what you mean is very evident here?
Just the genuine love overall. I always say it's like I played 10 years here. It's like I won a couple championships here for the city, and I didn't come close to that. What I did was just, put my hard hat on every day and give it my all, and that resonated with this community, resonated with this city, and the love that they show me, whether it be on social media or anytime I come back to Boston, it's like I'm forever grateful and appreciative of all the support. So it puts a smile on my face anytime, I interact with a Celtics fan or somebody that I was able to, touch their heart during my time here.
Yeah, very motivating, very inspiring, hence why you were being claimed as a legacy. Now, I got to ask this, how did Boston kind of shape you as a player? And I know that you don't like only being defined as a basketball player, so maybe even how it further shaped you as a human.
I think it's done wonders for my life. These were pivotal moments in my life when I was 27, 28 years old, just trying to find my way. An organization that kind of needed what I brought, and I needed an organization that believed in me. Mm-hmm. So it was like a match made in heaven, and something that allowed me to grow not only as a basketball player but as a person. My kids grew up here for a couple years, so it was like, these moments I don't ever take for granted, and I just want to be, super appreciative and thankful for the time I had here, and even around the world. I'm known for sure in my career as a Boston Celtic, and that's that's legendary stuff, and I'm appreciative of that.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking about legacy tonight, so I've got to ask. Maybe should have asked this earlier, but how'd you fall in love with basketball? What does loving basketball mean to you?
Other than my family, it's like the first thing that I fell in love with. Like, before anything, I knew basketball was something I loved. I happened to be a little good at it at a young age, but every time I touched the floor, like, it put a smile on my face. And it's crazy because I have that same feeling to this day. Anytime I'm working out or playing basketball, it brings a joy that I really can't describe. So ever since I can remember, I love the game, I care for the game, and I've given the game everything I've had.
Well, Evan Turner was just in here, and he talked about seeing you play since you were young. What's it like sharing moments with him, and he's presenting the award to you tonight?
He's my favorite teammate. So he's somebody that's, bigger than a teammate. He's a brother to me. We've known each other since we was like 14, 15 years old, just battling, competing across the country at, the top camps in high school. And somebody, like, when I got traded here, we became even closer. This is somebody we would have long nights in the hotel just talking about life, won't even be talking about basketball. So when I thought of somebody that, can present this award, it's like, man, that's a guy that knows who I really am, not just, the basketball player. And I'm super thankful for him to even be here and honored that he can, experience this honorable award with me. So
yeah, all around great human is what he had to say about you.
Oh man, I appreciate him for sure.
Yes. Well, your humility is very clear, but I gotta ask, NBA All-Star. Sometimes you've got doubters. What's it like to cancel out that noise? And you're not out there to prove anybody wrong, but that ends up being the result of your success.
In my career, that was like everything to me to prove people wrong. It was something that I've been doing since I was a little boy. Obviously, like, I'm very small when it comes to the game of basketball, but I think my confidence and my faith in myself has allowed me to, have the career I've had, and obviously the work ethic and just believing in myself. But I had a lot of luck, and I had a great support system as well that allowed me to really sacrifice a lot of things to be the best basketball player I can be. And I tried to do that every time, I step foot on the court.
Yeah, well, speaking of support, a lot of people were excited to support you, rely on you, and know that they can count on you when it came to big fourth quarter moments. Did you black out at all during those moments, or did you just know, like, all right, I'm going to shoulder this one, I got it?
Man, those moments happened so genuinely. It was like they just continued to happen. I was prepared for those moments. I wasn't expected to play as well as I did every fourth quarter, but it became an expectation for the world once they named me King of the Fourth and things like that. It was a fun game I was able to play, and I'm like I said, I'm super appreciative for the moments, and my teammates allowed me to be myself in those moments, and Brad Stevens put me in position to be successful. So, I always dreamed of being like a clutch basketball player. So when that season came and the time I had here in Boston, to be known as that was like something I truly wanted to live up to.
Well, Mr. Clutch is going to be a part of your legacy tonight as you are a recipient of the Legacy Award. What does it mean to be a part of the 2025 class?
It's an honor. Like, it's a humbling experience. These are things you don't really dream of. Like, I dreamed of playing in the NBA and being good, but like the awards and the recognition, you don't really chase. And like, I know as my career comes to an end soon, just like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, being honored like this, especially in a rich history of Boston sports, is like, I guess I did some major things at one point, and I'm being appreciated for that. So I'm super thankful and honored, and this is a cool moment for me.
Really cool. Hopefully you don't black out. You can put it all back together mentally when the night is done. Before I let you go, what do you think 10-year-old Isaiah Thompson would say to you today and now, not only the basketball player, but the human?
The 10-year-old, I think it would just be a big smile. Like, this was the dream. This was like, I'm living a dream each and every day I wake up. With my career, the family I have, like, it doesn't seem real. So I'm super blessed, and I think that 10-year-old would just be like, damn, we've came a long way, and this is what we seen from the jump. We just didn't know how we were going to get there.
Well, you made it to tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations yet again.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Great stuff there between Kasey and IT. I mean, it really just, and he acknowledged this, Ountae, it feels like a moment in time, right? When Isaiah Thomas was a Boston Celtic for so many reasons. I mean, some of the most exciting games, even pre-Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, and Al Horford, and some of the, more stereotypical stars have come through here. There was the IT era, a 3-year, not even 3 full seasons, but 3 parts of 3 years, 3 playoff runs with IT, 2 All-Stars, only times in his career that he was an All-Star. And as we know, everything just because of that debilitating hip injury that it sort of ended everything. He spoke at the time wanting to get paid and back up the Brinks truck and all of that. I mean, obviously his life went in a different direction with that hip injury that never quite allowed him to be the same player that he was by a long shot. I shouldn't even say quite. I mean, he played for 9 teams after the Boston Celtics, just bouncing around. And that's not even including G League teams. I'm just talking about NBA teams. He bounced around and around and around trying to find his old self. Tragically, by basketball standards, never rediscovered it, but played such a huge role in elevating this franchise, in part, starting the path to where it's become. People forget, I think anyway, it's not talked about as much anymore, that the recruitment of Al Horford at the All-Star game before he signed with Boston, like that stuff started there. Those two thought they were going to play together until that August trade that Kyrie winds up getting shipped to Cleveland because in the dead of night, Kyrie Irving becomes available.
Right.
So it's a fascinating tenure.
It is a very fascinating tenure, and obviously at the time I was in Los Angeles in high school, going off to college in California, and being from there, Isaiah Thomas made the Celtics cool again. It was one of those things where we knew in the California escape, man, you really got to respect what the Boston Celtics are doing over there with, IT is a problem. Got to deal with him every night and, just watch, I would watch his highlights, all the time. And, knowing that Kobe stamped him at the time was man, Kobe is even saying this dude is, legit. And, his story, just being the last pick of a draft and, going to Sacramento, where we know many careers go to die.
Yeah, amen.
And he just kept chugging along, and it felt like every time he got closer and closer and closer to being the guy that he knew he could be. And then in Boston, he fully became that. And it was a lot of kids growing up that want to be like IT based off of what he did here. And that was just very special to see.
Yeah, really cool figure, obviously, in Celtics history. One that you think about the all-time greats that have come through Boston, all those numbers that are up in the rafters, championships won, all of that. Obviously, he doesn't hold a candle to the vast majority of those guys. You think about the Celtic City documentary that came out, IT barely even mentioned. That era was glossed over because it wasn't part of a title era. But to give him his due and to celebrate him and his induction or recognition by the Sports Museum there at the Tradition, a lot of what has happened since in the last decade doesn't happen without him, like you said, kind of reinvigorating Celtics culture, putting the team to some degree back on the map off of where it had been since the new Big Three era in that few year period.
Right.
So incredibly exciting, and congrats obviously again to IT. We're going to hear from the guy that introduced him, that kind of represented him, Evan Turner, who a brief Celtics both player and coach several years back, enjoying himself in not even so much the media, just living his best life right now. We're going to hear from IT to ET. He will join us on the other side. Welcome back. So, as we just heard from Isaiah Thomas, again, newest member of the Tradition, the Sports Museum, he was presented by none other than a former teammate here in Boston and later a coach on Brad Stevens' staff, Evan Turner, who enjoyed a few years in a Boston uniform before going and getting paid by the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah. So he's been retired a handful of years as well. I don't know what he's up to these days. Maybe, just maybe, our own Kasey will know.
Evan Turner, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to dive into the most important thing at the moment. TD Garden is turning 30 years old. So for the anniversary, we got to know if there is a moment or a memory that sticks out to you in this building.
I think it took place in 2016. It was the last game of the regular season. We're playing Miami Heat. It's an important game for like playoff position, but the honorable Bill Russell was sitting courtside. I remember we were getting beat by like 25 in the first half. And I was used to like hometown like fans kind of booing because I played in Philly, but I really never saw that happen with Boston. So I kind of like, you know, like when your mom yells at you, you know, you're kind of like, hey, sometimes she's overreacting and sometimes you're like, she's right.
Yeah.
And I knew we were like getting booed in front of like Boston, our last game of the year, and it's honoring Bill Russell. I was just like, no, there's no way this could be part of my career.
Right.
Then we end up coming back, winning the game, and doing all of that. But I remember that night, you know, it was bigger than just us. But, you know, somebody that really, you know, gave so much for the sport, but for the, you know, an activist like Bill Russell, I felt like he deserved a better showing than that. And I'm glad we were able to give him a decent memory for that. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought that was one of the coolest moments to see like a living legend in person, but then also perform for him.
Yeah, and trying not to be nervous in front of them while you're trying to make a comeback for an absolute legend. So that's going to stick with you for quite some time. Looking into some things, there was a pivotal summer for you, 2014, and you were specific to say that this motivated you to reinvent yourself. Then you get the call to end up here in Boston. What did that summer mean to you, and then the opportunity to come to Boston as you're reinventing yourself? Because that's difficult as an athlete.
Yeah, not even as an athlete, as an
Human
individual.
being. Yeah.
So I think the underlying statement is so much surface level stuff where I was transforming like as an individual and then reinventing myself. But you know, it takes time to gain confidence, and you know, one thing where you want to transition is try to have stability. So it's kind of even more scarier where I was a free agent. I'm trying to find a different space, and I'm also kind of like, I wasn't the number 2 pick that I was 4 years prior. I was kind of just like a blue collar dude hoping it can work and, you know, quote unquote, a shell of myself. So, you know, even when you reinvent yourself, it means the old way wasn't working. And like I said, I give that credit to Boston, but I'll give that credit to Brad Stevens. Brad was so emotionally intelligent besides his basketball knowledge, and I think when you encounter people like that, they lift every voice when they sing, and he also listens. So I think God sent moments like this from Boston for me, to be honest with you.
What was it like to kind of go through that time in that summer and then to come to the #1 sports market in the entire, of all sports?
It was crazy. I was just like, man, like when my contract was up, I would have never guessed that I'd be waiting around wondering nobody, you know, who wanted me. So during that time, it's just a blessing. And obviously, even when they lost the big 3 and stuff, I was just like, hey, man, this is a real rebuild. But I get all up to God. He cleared space for me to reinvent myself. So I don't even. That was already written. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. You mentioned 2016 moments ago, so I got to ask you the toughest question. What was it like to basically have ownership of the Warriors, which was a complete force to be reckoned with during that time?
Yeah, that's so crazy. I always tell people, I'm like, bro, when they were going through their runs, we were killing them. Like, do you know what I mean?
That's what I mean, though.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, it's kind of weird because Steph Curry is like the GOAT.
Yeah.
Andre is one of my best friends, so I understand like that the legacy and what they did, but we were so confident in them. I remember when we finished their 40-game win streak, right? We play in Portland the night before. We're up 15, we blow the game. We have to go do a back-to-back on national TV the next day. I remember all of us just being up till like 5 a.m. and it's like, yo, we gonna get this game. We finna win tomorrow. That's in the bag. And I have no clue why we were so confident, but we just love the matchup. And Brad gave us confidence, and you know our right players to step up. Isaiah scored 28 in the second half.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So you know, God was good in that sense.
Oh yes, and it's nice to have ownership over such a team as the Warriors.
Yeah, I think Steph Curry destroyed LeBron and all of them, but somehow struggle with the 40-win Celtics. It's gotta make you laugh in certain senses.
The irony, that presents itself. Of course, Brad Stevens being a huge figurehead, so I've got to know his impact on your career as a player, and then when you decided to coach.
Yeah, Brad's a man to me. Like I remember I just told this story earlier. Like Brad's one of the few people I ever cry in front of. Like, you know what I mean? Like Brad is literally like the man. So I go to Brad for anything. I don't think Brad is just like a coach or like somebody that meant like whatever. I just think he's somebody where God sent him to me.
Good human.
And amazing human, and you can trust him. And he reciprocates the energy you give, and that's very rare in life. So Brad's the dopest. Brad's the best.
Well, we're loving him here in Boston. Yeah. Before I let you go, I got to ask what it's going to mean to you to be able to present the award, the Legacy Award, to one of your best friends and someone else who means a tremendous amount to the Boston community.
Yeah, it means the world to me, man. I have so much respect for Isaiah just as a man, but even as like a player, and you can be a fan of people and you can appreciate people, and like I said, it's rare to get that reciprocation. And when he asked me, like I was just like, I got emotional because I was like, man, like this is a big moment, and it shows the real side of like our friendship, but also like you never forgot how much I believed in you, or like you saw how genuine I was in our interactions, and to see like somebody you really care about and respect be championed is one thing, but for them to ask to be there with you is that's, like I said, bro, everything is God, and I'm just grateful for that. And I think the real cool thing is like now we're 36 or dang near we're in 40, and you see his kids that were 4 at the time now hitting high school, and like I think we're at a point where we've seen like the fruits of our labor and like the real joy of life, more so than just buckets. So that's a blessing. Yeah, you
can tell he's the kind of person that doesn't want to only be defined by basketball, which you've got to honor and give so much credit to. But when did you know he was going to be an all-star?
I met Isaiah when we were 15, so I saw a lot of basketball, so I always knew he was going to be different. Like when I met him at 15, I remember going home and Googling him and be like, who the hell is this 5'6" kid from Seattle? Right. So I knew that. I knew when he got drafted, I knew he was going to make a play. And then when he played with us like the first couple weeks, Brad was so sure in his basketball and Danny Ainge was so sure in his skill set that it was like, the smartest people I know said he's good. So it's kind of like, what would I know? And then just seeing him in person and him working hard every single day, it was like, no, that dude had a fire in his eyes that like he was taking everything he got. It wasn't just talent. It was like hard work and like intentionality.
Absolutely. Evan?
A lot of great stuff from Kasey Hudson, both with Isaiah Thomas and then, of course, Evan Turner. And honestly, I mean, even watching the Celtics during that era as closely as I did, Ountae, I don't recall those two being as close as they obviously are.
Right, and I mean, we talked about how great IT was. Like, Evan Turner was a guy that I watched in college, and I was like, hey, I want to play like that dude. Like, he's had a lot of impact on the youth and the game as well. So I know we're showing a lot of love to IT, but ET, man, he was a guy that did some things in college, but also here in Boston.
Second overall pick. I mean, you're talking about
John Wall.
IT is being the, Mr. Irrelevant, if you will, the last pick of the draft, right. 60th, whatever the number was, and, for Turner to go number 2.
Two opposite ends of the pole.
Absolutely, and definitely a dude, too, for all the Sixth Man of the Year love around here, right? Malcolm Brogdon, Payton Pritchard, trying to speak Anthony Simons into existence. Evan Turner was top 5 in the vote back in the 2015-16 season with the Celtics. So there you go. Very cool. Congrats to both those guys, mostly, of course, IT for being honored as he was. When we come back, as we always like to wrap up, game times, league pass shows, you name it here on Hold My Banner. Stick around. All right, let's have a little fun here. We like to do this at least once a week.
Yeah.
You know what time it is.
Wicket or kick it. Bow, 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 bow. All right, first up, we got a photo from a guy we just beat, and we're going to see again on Friday. Terrence Mann, shout out to League Fits for this photo. Adam Kaufman, how do you feel about this fit?
I feel like it's a white matrix. This is the Neo.
Where's Lawrence Fishburne at, dog?
This is the Neo, except all black. It's all white. No, kick it. I don't like this at all. I think this is absolutely terrible, and I would be afraid to eat a sandwich or anything that could make a mess of it. This thing would just have me uncomfortable the entire time. As comfortable from a fabric standpoint as it actually does look.
That's funny that you said that. You know, back in 2020, like Terrence Mann is around my age, and us people in our generation, whatever you want to call our generation.
Whatever you are.
Right. We were watching a lot of anime because anime, we didn't have content. There was, we grew up in the cartoon era and stuff like that, and, the height of the cartoon era, and so we switched over to a little bit of anime, some adult cartoon stories, right?
Okay.
And this reminds me of something that I would see in Naruto. Like I cannot fathom that he wore this in Brooklyn. I think he wore this outfit going out. You know what? Actually, I can't fathom it. Have you seen the way people dress in New York? It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
It's unique.
They take a lot of swings.
They're looking to be recognized.
They take a lot of swings.
Fashion capital of the world, isn't it?
And with a lot of swings, there's a lot of misses. Terrence Mann, I love your game. I love the way you play. 3-and-D guy. Do the right things, but man, this outfit ain't it, dog. So I'm going to go kick it on it as well. All right, we'll switch it over to another guy who may or may not dress a little bit better, Stephen Curry. Sneaker free agent Stephen Curry, may I say.
Okay.
Shout out to Real Ryan K Photo for this. And League Fits, how do you feel about this one, Adam?
Let's zoom in on this a little bit. I want to get a better look at the real head to toe on Steph Curry here. I mean, I want to
pause. The silence says a lot, Adam.
Well, I want to say wicked, but I also want to say he looks like he's there to fix my computer.
So
that's my pause. That's what was happening in my head as I was deliberating.
What I will say about this, because he looks like a mailman for whatever reason in this photo, is I kind of like this fit. Like he looks like a modern mailman. But then it comes down to those shoes. The Li Nings, now, I am also a sneaker free agent, so Li Ning, if you want to sponsor me, go ahead and
He's on board.
These are awful. Like, these are the Way of Wades or something like that. This colorway specifically, awful. I love some of those Way of Wades. I've bought them. I have friends that have bought them. But these ones specifically, with that outfit, gotta go. Obviously, he didn't consult his wife on this one. Kick it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you listen to her. I'm not sure she's getting consulted on a whole lot these days to begin with. But
fair enough. We'll move on.
Beside the point.
We'll move on. Shout out to League Fish for this photo. Emmanuel Quickly. Just do this one in just because I like it. What do you feel about this outfit, though?
I'm going to kick it.
Okay.
I'm going to kick it because, and I know that this is, I'm not kicking it all the way out. We went back to Steph Curry. We'll let it stick around for a hot sec. I look at this one, and this is just, I could see why you or someone else might say wicked.
Okay.
The reason I say kick it comes down to personal preference.
And
to me, I think it looks slobby. I think if you're going to wear like a nice dress shirt and a tie, tuck your shirt in, man.
Yeah.
I don't like the untuck with the short tie. Does the tie even reach his belly button? I mean, I know he's a tall dude, but you can have a tall tie. It's not like it hasn't been done before. It looks we're a little too relaxed here.
Look, here's why I'm saying I like this one and it's wicked, because I was talking about our generation and how we were into the anime and all this other stuff earlier. You know what we were also into back then? I was going to a lot of bar and bar mitzvahs and quinceañeras.
Oh, good for you.
And, I'm very culturally, but here's the thing. I'm sexy and I know it. I can see LMFA wearing this, and I'm sitting in there dancing with this outfit on, sweating my butt off at the bar mitzvah, trying to look kind of swaggy but kind of dressed up at the same time because you're 13 years old.
That makes sense.
This is a wicked fit for me, so I'm gonna go wicked. I'm not gonna give it too high because middle school was an embarrassing time, but
you gotta remember, like I appreciate that we do these segments, and I know people look at me as this authority on fashion, but you need to understand that, like, there are a lot of just maybe not as current as in the last year, but like trends or whatever that that I just think are the ugliest things I've ever seen that are incredibly popular. Like, you will never catch, like, I'd have to be lying down horizontal in the box for you to find me in a blazer and a hoodie. I think it's the dumbest look that exists on this planet. I don't care, like, for anyone.
You're showing your age.
No exceptions.
I want you to rate another young guy. I actually didn't put this one on the rundown for you because it's a surprise. Last episode that we had Wicked or Kick It, you said the bell bottoms are dumb. I told you that I'd come in here and you didn't even notice it. Rate this fit. I'm not absolved of getting, criticized. Go ahead and criticize me, Adam. What do you feel about this one?
I think you're handsome. I think your pants are colorful. And maybe a little too baggy because the bell bottoms are dumb.
Oh, man.
Though you made that look comfy the other day.
Okay.
You did.
All right.
The thing that I gave you hell about, I don't think it was on the air, but I was like, you're wearing a jacket?
Yeah, you did.
You're
like, it's warm enough in here. Hey, the lights do feel warm here today. But all right, real quick, League Pass game of
Look at this guy. He's nice.
Awful. All right, real quick, League Pass game of the weekend. What are you throwing to us, Adam? Shout out.
Well, so here's the thing. We don't have another show until Tuesday, so we got some days to choose from.
You got it all the way through Monday if you
I'm
like.
going to Monday,
all right.
and I'm giving you a game that you are going to hate.
Uh-oh.
How about...
More Lakers?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Lakers-Jazz rematch. I think that's on Sunday, actually.
I don't want to.
It was game of the day the other day. No, I'm going to go Nuggets at Grizzlies, if you can believe it. One, I just like watching the Nuggets. Yeah. Jokic is the best player of his generation.
Fair enough.
He is going to go down as a top 10 player, maybe top 5 player all time when all is said and done. So I want this as much as possible when it comes to the Joker.
Yep.
I want to see if Memphis, as it continues to get a little healthier, maybe Ja's back in the lineup. Like, this team's going to implode. They're going to trade him. It's all going to fall apart. Put up a damn fight at home. You're going to fall asleep, huh?
Yeah, I'm not watching Memphis play. I'll give you actually a fun matchup.
Okay.
A little sneaker matchup because I love my shoes.
You do.
Timberwolves at Suns, Friday night NBA Cup matchup. Ant 2s versus Book 2s. I need to see these two shooting guard matchup. We always talk, who's the better shooting guard? Who's this? Who's that? We're going to get to watch them match up. Let's see what they do. Ant versus Devin Booker. Lights on. Let's do it.
Yeah, I can get behind Ant versus Booker. It's the whole rest of it that doesn't interest me. What's happening when one of those guys isn't on the floor?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Thanks to Kasey Hudson for dropping by, obviously, with great chats with Isaiah Thomas as well as Evan Turner. Our thanks to Kyle, to Greg, everybody behind the scenes, Ante, Adam, hold my banner, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 1 p.m., Nest Nation.
Peace.